Calling the meeting to order. Channel 79, we're on. It is, what is it, 7:34 p.m., 7:32 p.m. on March 24th. This is a special meeting agenda this evening. If you could please make sure your cell phones are silenced. What we're going to do is start, well, first of all, we're going to make every reasonable effort to get through this agenda tonight, and what we'll do is immediately following the two hearings tonight, we will deliberate. If you choose to stay and hear the deliberation, you can listen, you cannot comment. Once we close the hearing, you cannot make any more comments, okay? So we'll start with postponements and continuations. First of all, calendar number 25-2024 has been withdrawn. That is the application of Patricia Ayudo. I don't know if I pronounced that correctly. The address is 223 Middlesex Road. That is withdrawn. Next, calendar number 4-2025. We're going to open and immediately continue to April 23rd at the applicant's request due to their unavailability for this evening. And that's for 72 Old Kings Highway South. Continuing and continuations of public hearings. Calendar number 31-2024. This was opened on February 24th. This is the application of Nicole Conlon for 44 Huckleberry Lane. What are we doing, Woody? We're
having continuation of the hearing.
So we're just continuing that hearing. Okay. I don't need to say anything else there?
No.
Okay. And then also calendar number,
We'll get to the others later.
okay, calendar number 1-2025 was opened on February 24th of 2024 and immediately continued. We are also continuing that. That is for 1 Swifts Lane. Karen, you good?
That sounds good.
Okay. That takes us to our two public hearings for this evening. We're going to take these.
We're actually we actually have to continue those.
We're hearing those.
We're hearing those.
Yeah.
So wait, I got to go back.
So we're going for 44 Huckleberry.
So we're going in order.
We have to reopen Huckleberry.
I'm sorry. Okay, so we're reopening calendar number 31-2024. Okay, 44 Huckleberry Lane. Okay, I'm sorry, I misread this. Yes, correct. Okay, the application of Nicole Conlon. Am I saying it correctly? I'm sorry, Nicole. That's great. If you want to approach the podium and please state your name for the record.
Okay.
Nicole Kenline and my husband Mark Kenline. So we had previously come in and talked to you all, so I don't know if you want us to go through everything again or just give like a brief summary.
A brief summary would be much appreciated. And then what we might do is just ask you some questions around what we heard before.
Sure.
Thank you.
So our intention is to enclose a screened-in porch that exists on the back of our house. It was built in 1959 with a valid building permit, and it happens to be 7 feet over the back setback line. All the other sides of the porch are within the setback, but the back south side is 7 feet towards the back of our neighbor, who is on Marianne. The neighbor on Marianne happens to be fairly far away, so we're not kind of up against his property. His house, I'm sorry to say. It's built farther back. Our intention is obviously not to add any square footage. We're literally just enclosing the walls. The roof was actually recently done, also under a valid permit, and also was the siding. So we did go through the town and got permits to do the work on our house as a whole, including this piece of the screened-in porch. So the roof will stay exactly as is. The walls will be enclosed with windows, foam insulation, everything to code. The foundation actually is able to support the building as it is. We do have pillars underneath that are built, so we'll need to add 2 additional pillars and 1 support beam in the ceiling. But other than that, I think there was a question of our fireplace. So we intend to do a gas fireplace along the south wall that is in the setback. That will not stick out of the wall any further. It'll just be like a decorative type fireplace built into the room. so not to go any further back. There was also a question mark on our stairs that will come down from that enclosure. So there is a current staircase that comes down that's on the rear of our house, not in the setback area. We intend to also move that, but just move it slightly over within the setback, just to have a graded staircase down onto our patio that exists as is today.
Do you have any images or anything in addition to what was originally submitted?
We did upload the most recent plans. I know there are some question marks in our plans. It is with a builder that we've worked with many times in the past, so he is valid. But he did upload that showing the stairs are not into the setback, because I think originally that was like a little bit of a question mark that you all had.
Correct, okay. And then were we questioning the structure, if the structure could sustain? I don't think we were, right? Because we were just gonna fill in the windows and the walls. That's what I'm trying to remember.
We're also trying to understand the hardship.
The hardship.
Yeah, the hardship, that was the
Yeah.
biggest question.
So I think we probably just didn't quite understand what the question was about the hardship, and obviously I've done research and further talked about it. Our lot is a 0.7 acre property within a 2 acre zone. It's also a very odd shape. So if you look at the survey that we have submitted, the town kind of goes into the front yard with the circle that's like the easement for the road that could be built. So we can't build out into the front. And then we have kind of this very long house on a very long, narrow strip of property, such that we would never go back. So we don't intend to ever add square footage, because I don't think we're able to. I think there's also a coverage question. So we are at 11% coverage, and I think the allowable, as our survey shows, is 20%. So this does not add anything to the coverage at all. But really the hardship is we have a family, we'd like to use the space that we purchased. We also have been upgrading the house a lot as we go along, but just kind of as is, just siding, roof, new kitchens, bathrooms. Like, we knew we'd have to do this coming into it. But our intention is just to be able to use that space as it is.
Nicole, we agree that that's a hardship, having a family working with a difficult space. From a statutory standpoint, the hardship would be defined as an unusual lot or setbacks issues or wetlands. So you're saying in this case, the unusual shape of this lot,
Yes.
the size. Anybody?
Do you happen to know, I see along the southern edge of your property line, your buildable area is a straight line, on the northern edge it curves, matching the shape of that road.
Yes.
Do you know in the middle how wide your buildable area is, roughly?
I don't. From the front you're talking about?
Yeah.
I don't, but the road doesn't exist there.
There's no road.
Right.
Right, so like I know it's allowed to, right? So, yeah.
But do you know how wide that area is there, roughly?
No, but we could scale it.
I was just thinking in rough terms.
You mean to the front of the house from the road?
The buildable area.
Buildable lot width.
Something like here.
Yeah, I guess you might call it.
No, I'm just talking about here. This is the buildable area,
Right.
right? What Woody highlighted. I'm just curious as to what the width of the house.
Got it.
Which is, and that's not quite the width of the house, but close to it.
It's 35 to the side property line.
Right.
This thing here, so it's more than 35. May not be 70
Right, okay.
in terms of this, right? That's what
Yeah.
you want to know,
Mhm.
the width of the buildable area, the depth in this case.
And they're giving up, the coverage is not the issue.
No, right, they want to just build into the setback there.
That's the part of the
Right.
house. We're looking at the survey that's highlighted a little bit.
Okay.
And we've highlighted the part of the sun porch that's in the setback in
Uh-huh.
pink. That's what the variance is about.
Yeah, if I recall this, it was just the hardship. We couldn't define what the hardship was before.
I think I had had a surgery and sent a representative in my.
Never send your husband.
I was not allowed to go home. You said you want to push it along or take a vote. I said, I can't go home and let you guys vote on this without talking to her.
Sorry, you had to wait a month, but yeah,
So-
we need that. Jan, any questions?
No, I think I'm good.
No? Yeah? Kevin?
Nope.
Okay, Woody? Is there anyone in the audience who wishes?
Sorry, one
I'm
quick,
sorry.
are you planning on installing HVAC equipment in the screened porch?
No, we're gonna do a radiated heated floor and also use the fireplace as a heating source. And then our current AC unit was just redone a couple of years ago, I can't remember, but that is built in order to be able to facilitate that square footage as well.
Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to be heard on this application? Okay. Anything else?
I think that's it, unless we need to clarify anything else for you.
I think you're all set.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you very
End
much.
of the evening, we'll deliberate. Thank you. Okay. Okay, we'll be moving on to our next hearing that was continued from February 24th. That's calendar number 1-2025. This is the application of Peter Stees on behalf of Cameron Law for the property located at 1 Swiss Lane. Good evening. If you could state your name for the record?
Sure. My name is Attorney Christopher Bristol, the law firm Gilbright Hughes Law in Spillane. With me is Peter Stees, is the architect and the applicant, the person who submitted the application, and also the property owner, Mr. Cameron Law. Property, again, is a one Swiss Lane. It's a 0.644 acre lot in the southeast corner. It's an intersection with Rings End Road. The house here is built in 1926, which is, I understand, prior to the establishment of zoning regulations in Darien. It's legally non-conforming in that its front yard setback is currently 33.7 feet from the property line, where a front yard of 40 feet is required. You'll see in particular, actually, that if I can go over. You see that this is the front bump out portion that's really non-conforming. The other line here is actually at the setback. Okay, so this part and this part over here meets the 40-foot front yard setback. The house is currently undergoing some renovations and some additions that are going. You'll see them on the sides of the house there. Those are almost done. They're well underway, and those are compliant. We included. There's a portion of the existing front there. You can see it. This part here, which was actually removed as part of that process too, so it could maintain a bit more conformity in that regard. Part of my client's project is to replace an existing front stoop, I guess you call it, a landing, with a covered porch, 8 by 5 covered front porch. The existing landing or stoop, or whatever you call it, is almost the same size. It's about 8.5 feet by 4.5 feet. So it'll be replacing that. Will be about 9 feet high, so it's a single story. It's a very simple design. So you can see it here, just 2 columns, and then with the roof over. So here's, it calls out the dimensions and shows you architecturally where it is. So the hardships here really is the pre-existing location of the house. Again, the house is built in 1926. With that bump out in the front, it makes it legally non-conforming. This is actually one of the smaller properties along Swift's Lane. Most of them are, I think, well over an acre. And I don't have the aerial with me, but if you've ever seen the aerial with tax maps, you can see most of them are centrally located in their properties with sort of circular driveways. So most of the other properties, if not all of them, along Swift's Lane have ample room to have a front porch. Here, we don't. In terms of adverse impacts, there's no adverse impacts whatsoever. We're only almost nominally changing the footprint given what's existing, what we're replacing it with. Property, what I think is significant actually is if you look here, here is the property line, and then the paved portion of Swiss Lane is about 17 or so feet beyond that. Okay, so in addition to the hardship that's created by the pre-existing location, we have the road location as well. So in terms of no adverse impacts, physically, in real life, if you will, if you're along Swift's Lane, it presents as being a compliant setback. I know that's not legally the case, but when you're talking about feel or presentation, it presents as something that certainly would meet the setback. It's a simple functional design, and it's the given the totality of the circumstances, it's the minimum design that we would feel comfortable to achieve its needs. You know, we're looking for a little bit of privacy, a little bit of weather, protection from the elements for visitors or, you know, packages, et cetera, things that are getting dropped off. And I understand that there's some common conditions that are placed upon this, which my client has agreed to, which is, you know, that we're not going to enlarge it in the future, we're not going to enclose it. And I think there was a staff comment or a department comment about shielding the lights to prevent light trespass, et cetera. So with those things in mind, I think that we can maintain that there's going to be no adverse impacts to, you know, to any neighbors or anyone on the street. Certainly not going to change the streetscape. It's a nice design. It's very simple, very reasonable. That's the question, or that's the presentation, I guess.
Sounds good to me. Gavin? Good?
Any other questions?
I just had one question.
Sure.
You mentioned that there was something that was removed that would help reduce the non-conformity.
Well, I think the reason for it was so that they could do two-story addition within the setback. So I think that was a preventative measure there. So in order to have a two-story addition, we had to make it compliant, and then so that's the front part was removed. So what you have is a longer profile, a longer line that is compliant. So the part that removed there, the remaining portion is 40 feet from the property line.
Okay.
Yeah, we made whatever we could compliant. We just couldn't deal with this front porch. The rest of the house is compliant.
Yeah.
So the renovation that's going on right now did not come before this board to get a variance?
Correct. Yeah, so pains were taken to really not request variances, you know, so the point was not to be here before you, but given the fact that we're dealing with the front door, we're not changing the front door location, and given the situation of the property, there's not much that we can do, so, which is why we're asking for the variance.
Can we count that in their favor, even though it's already been done?
Sure.
Yeah.
I would totally count that.
Any idea approximately how many square feet that might be that was reduced in terms of the?
Do you know?
portion
Into
that
the
was taken away?
setback? That
Yeah.
was
The part that was removed in the front.
Yeah.
Are you
Can
Mr.
you-
Law?
I mean, this, basically this much.
Okay,
This-
yeah,
what is this?
it's
Oh,
Peter?
you need to state your name, I'm
Just-
sorry.
yeah,
If you state your name for the record, we know who you are, but on the, yeah, say, you're the architect.
Here's Steve's.
Here's Steve. Thank
So
you.
it's basically this little section here,
So can you give approximate dimensions so we could get approximate square footage?
4 by 10.
So about
4 by
40
12.
40 square feet.
So you brought 40 feet more into compliance,
Okay.
for the record, okay. You like it?
Yeah, and again, I think just to reiterate the point, there is a stone landing there that we're basically using, but obviously the whole point is to cover it, so that's what brings us here. So we're going to, it's about the same dimensions, like I said.
So basically, they reduced the amount for
Of the
the
non-conformity?
non-conformity with the amount that would be added for the porch. Is kind
Oh,
of-
yeah, yeah.
He made it safer. The original porch is 8 by 4.5, this is 8 by 5,
Correct.
okay?
Yeah, the original one's 8.5. I think it's 8'7" by, you know, so they're both dimensions are shifted about half a foot. So when those, you know, under the new scheme, it's going to be almost the same.
Okay.
You know, but again, it has a roof. I think it's about 9 foot high, single story. That's shown on the plan. So very simple.
Okay? John? Matt? You good? Woody?
Good.
Anyone in the audience wish to be heard? This is a tough one. Very, very tough. Okay.
Easy night for everyone.
Easy enough. We'll see.
Not over yet.
And let the record reflect I'm knocking on wood as I say that.
All right, I appreciate it. That's great. Okay, consider this hearing closed, and we will deliberate later this evening. Thank you very much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you very much.
Okay. All right, up next, our regularly scheduled program, calendar number 5-2025, the application of Steve Jones and Hatley Home Designs on behalf of the Blonigans for 70 Middlesex Road.
I wanted my time in
We'll give you some time.
All right. I'll introduce. I'm Stephen Jones, and I'm representing the Blonigans from 70 Middlesex Road. I am the principal at Hatley Homes Design, and I've been up here off and on for the last 20 years. So, this is Andrew, and this is Michaela. We're here seeking relief from the ZBA to allow a second floor addition over the west side of their existing first floor. So we're not proposing to change the footprint, the coverage, the building height. We're not disturbing anything on the property. This is all over the existing house, and there are quite a few examples on the street that have done the same thing. So under section 406, we're asking the ZBA for a variance to allow a 13-foot west side yard versus the requirement for the 1/3 zone of 15 feet on that side. So it's 13 feet versus 15 feet. It's a 2-foot strip that runs right through the current house and current location. Now, all of these properties are 1/5 acre properties that are in restrictive zoning that was changed to 1/3 acre. And this is a 1929 house, pre-existing, and would normally be fully compliant with 5th acre setbacks. So, and you know, if they were applied to this house, you could be within 8 feet of the property line. But we are within 13 feet. It's a very small home, as a number of these are. It's 1,729 square feet, so it's about 1,700 square feet. We have a family of 4 living in it.
And a dog.
It has 3 very small bedrooms, 1 small bathroom on the second floor. Let me show you just as a kind of recap. Everyone see that? So here's Middlesex Road. Here's the area we're talking about. Here's the 13-foot setback, and that's to the eaves, by the way, not to the siding. And you know, here's the property line, and it's kind of a convoluted house. Dates back to 1929. And let me show you. Floor plans. Oops. Better up, right side up. So here's the current house. This small bathroom is what a family of 4 is sharing. These bedrooms are really narrow. You know, that's the way things were in these houses in 1929. But since 1929, we've had COVID, we've had so many pressures on these houses from home offices. They both do work from home, both need a home office, to storage, to caring for kids and pets and everything. So this house is under a lot of pressure to get expanded. And the only area that's really feasible, both from economics and from structural engineering thing, is to build over this part of the house. We've had structural engineers certify that the foundation is sound. We have photographs, I brought one with me, but that it can support.
Do we have that letter?
Yeah, do we have it, Steve, the report?
The structural?
You don't have the report. I do have a photograph taken from it, but our structural engineer is willing to write something if it's necessary. That was taken, we excavated the corner, the lowest corner, which is the southwest corner here. And it was inspected, measured, and then reviewed and approved by our PE.
I tell you where John's going with this. We have had case after case of people coming in front of us, and they're like, I swear this thing is solid and can support a second story. They start to tear it off, they find out it's not structurally sound, but instead of coming back to this board, they go ahead with the project, and really what's supposed to happen is you're supposed to stop and come back to us and revise the plan.
And not even the foundation, the walls themselves too.
Yeah.
We've had 3 or 4 of them in the last couple months.
No,
I
I've been
know
on both
you-
sides of that. I've done dozens of these, and so far
what is this?
we've been good. Well, that particular photograph was looking at the width of the footing. So the footing had to be at least 4 inches beyond the
I'm passing this back
8-inch
to you.
wall.
Oh,
It had to have X depth and all these things. So we had like maybe 15 photographs, and you know the engineers reviewed it, and short of getting him to come in with a Bible, I don't know. He can write a report. If you need that, put that in as a stipulation, and we'll be happy to do that. So I just didn't,
I know
wasn't
you-
on the list.
Yes, this is a big concern for us, that these projects have been going forward and then something changes in the field. I mean, because honestly, you don't really know. I mean, the section you've looked at might be good, but when you really get into the project, sometimes there are
We're not gonna
things.
excavate that. We took the worst part of the foundation. So the engineers, this engineer is pretty conservative, so.
Well, who's the engineer?
There's a.
Yeah, who's the engineer?
Leo Dwyer from, if you speak with the building department, they have a lot of respect for this guy. He's over the top on safety and structural integrity. And he's a senior engineer.
So let's ask the questions then. He supposedly looked at the foundation about the first floor deck. Is that solid in conformance with the building code? Can support the extra weight?
We believe so, yeah.
Believe so?
Well, here's the thing, until you take a house apart, if you discover that there's termite damage or structural integrity that should have been there that isn't there, you gotta fix it. So I can't
I
promise
agree.
you without taking the house apart that there isn't some damage or something that we're not seeing. But in the past, anyway, you know, we get that excavated, we get it inspected, we get it certified, and usually we deal with the building department on that, because they won't let us go forward until they know that it's, you know, they're reasonably confident that it's solid.
So could you do this addition, if we said no to this, I mean, I know we're only talking 2 feet to the eaves. Could you get the bang for the buck you need out of this project if we said no to the addition in the setback? Could you scale
No.
it back and still get what you need?
No, I can, this room is 11'10" now, and that's the primary suite. So.
So it'd be
you're-
under
and
a
we're
10
not
by
adding
10.
any rooms, actually, we're actually adding some office space and laundry up here. Right now, you have to do the laundry for a family of 4 down in the basement. You gotta go through these little tiny stairs, gotta go down 2 stories into a dark basement. The laundry should be up here. They have a need for home offices. They have a need for closet space. The attic is really just for the HVAC. It's not a livable space or usable space.
Did you look at any other scenarios for putting an addition?
We did. We looked at what about, this is already, because it's maxed out on coverage, so this is already part of the coverage. And we said, what if we put living quarters over here? Well, it almost tripled the cost because there's a stone patio under here. They built that on stone patio. There's no foundation there. So this would all have to come out, a new foundation would have to be put in. We'd disturb the whole property. We'd have to put access here, so we're actually kind of losing space. But we could have put that suite here and left this part here, but you're going from, let's say, a $350,000 to a $750,000 project, just because this is 2 feet over in restrictive zoning, which, depending on your opinions, I'm like, that restrictive zoning policy is so archaic. These are the houses that you want. These are high-density houses. These guys should be getting the red carpet treatment, not.
From a state standpoint, statutory
And
says
federal.
we have got to say no unless there's a clearly defined hardship. We have to. You have got to make a case to us that this is a hardship. And a hardship can't be that you have kids and need to work from home. It's not the hardship.
No, the hardship is that back in, 1954, they
The
made this
zoning
into a
regulations.
1/3 acre
Yep.
restrictive zone, and it's pre-existing and legally non-conforming. So,
I'm giving you a hard time
I know.
because you're a bit of a scapegoat for us because we have been getting beat up on this issue. People
Yeah.
say, oh, okay, no, it's all gonna be good. Then they go out there in the field and it's not all good. And we want the best project, we want the best outcome, we want the safest project, and you don't know what you're dealing with necessarily.
and that's true. Doing any of this is sort of, there's some
There's some
gamble to
guesswork.
working on
There
old
is.
houses. There's always discoveries, we put contingencies in the budget,
Right.
we do,
So we're gonna give you an
overboard.
exception. We're gonna say, we're trusting you. But what you have to do is say, I promise that when I get into this project, if you guys let me go ahead with this, that we're gonna stop if we run across
Yeah.
something unexpected and come back in front of this board.
Yeah, I can make that promise, and I
Let's take,
think,
let's take it forward.
Step at a time.
What about the first floor walls? Are you gonna keep the first floor walls?
yes, we're not touching those.
Gonna keep-
So only things that are coming off on this house, let me show you. Big one. Yes.
Is there a builder picked out already too?
No,
No?
no, because you go out on a limb on these things and you don't know if you can do it. So, and
Yeah.
there's a lot of moving parts and domino effect.
Yeah.
So we're looking for approvals, but we've already done some engineering, we've done a lot of survey work, we've done a lot of design work. So we're well down the road, but we haven't completely finished this because we need to know the answer. But this roof is coming off, and this wall and that roof is actually staying. This wall and this roof are coming off, and that's it.
What about the ceiling joist in the first floor space?
They're getting new, thicker joists sistered to the existing ones.
So, what we're hearing is maybe foundation's good, maybe first floor deck is good,
First floor walls
are
are
good.
probably good.
probably good.
No cracks, no sagging, so looks like it was built pretty well. The other houses have all done this, and they look pretty solid. So, I appreciate that things like this can happen, and then, you should come back to the board. We've had it work both ways, and we've sometimes gotten into these things with the building department and ZBA, and, building department saying that's got to come down. The ZBA is like, wait a minute, that wasn't part of the deal. So it's sort of a, nebulous area you get into, but we do our best. And I think, I've been doing this for 20 years, and I think we're trusted. And I think we pay the price for those people who don't follow the rules.
I agree. It's a nice design, Steve. Your
Looks
work is
nice.
good. It's very nice.
So the finished product would look like something like this.
So the attic, you said, is gonna be just HVAC. It's not gonna be finished space at all.
Yep,
Okay.
and we're leaving the existing roof there.
Okay.
We're actually putting in a pull-down stairs here so you can get up there to the HVAC.
Okay.
Right now, it has basically a ladder in one of the back rooms, has a ladder stairs going up in the back room. But we're gonna get rid of that and put a pull-down.
I know Kevin's gonna ask it. What's the total increase in the setback? It's roughly 2 feet by,
Well, there's no increase.
well, no, it is. It's second floor
Volume.
No. it's
volume
going
in the
straight-
setback.
Volume.
Well, volume, yes.
I'm sorry, what did I say?
Well, I thought you meant just the setback, because we're going straight
It's
up.
volume in the
30
setback.
It's 37 feet
By
by 2
two.
2 feet.
Okay.
So,
And what's the total coverage of the house? Do you know that offhand on the lot? Is it
yeah,
under?
20.5%.
Oh, 20.5.
Yeah.
Is there anything you can give up to get that under 20? Is there a chicken? coop or
Possibly,
something?
what's pushing that over, it used to be a 20%, is it has 2 layers of siding, and it's a pretty convoluted, so it all adds up. So when the surveyor measures it, he measures it at the worst point, and the town has this as 1,789 square feet, and our computers show it at exactly 1,800, which is exactly 20% of 9,000 square feet. The surveyor also found out the lot was slightly smaller than the town thought it was. So it's only 9,000 square feet, which is exactly 1/5 acre.
Is there a shed? Is there a tree house?
Well, there's a lot of other non-conformities here, right?
Yeah, but
Why don't we
it
go-
was
why don't we go
conforming
through
in
those?
1929.
Yeah.
So
that
this all
garage.
happened in
Garage,
1954.
Propane tank, is that
Yeah,
staying where it is?
only for the moment they got gas from the street, so they got natural gas. They have to get the oven converted
Okay.
to natural gas.
Is
As
that
soon
part-
as
is
that's
that part
done,
of
that
this
propane
project?
tank's coming out.
Okay.
Okay.
So the propane tank goes away. That saves you 4 feet. Okay.
Yeah, we get a
There's an
it's
allowance. for-
like trading horses. There's a 9-foot allowance for some of these things.
Woody, does something like that count as the coverage or no?
It does.
There's an allowance for equipment that doesn't have to increase the coverage over the 20%.
But that tank is not supposed to be where it is, right?
Yeah, it's not
No,
conformed.
not by the, according to the restrictive zone.
Is there a stone patio somewhere that had,
Yeah, the stone patio was under this, there
Oh,
was
the
one
screen.
originally under here, and they built a screen porch over it.
that's not gonna work. Brick patio?
And that's, yeah, brick patio, asphalt driveway. There were a number of questions from the staff, like fence encroachments. These fences belong to the neighbors, so they should be on the neighbor's property.
Okay.
Both sides?
There's one at
Yes,
68 and
both
there's one at
sides.
72.
Yes.
So in both cases, those are the neighbor's
They're
fences.
owned by the neighbors and they're on the neighbor's property. Now, they do link their fence to it, because you don't want double fences or gaps in your fences, but that's the only spot here, and where else did it occur? I think just here it occurs. Oh, no, they did it here too. So 2 spots where they link up to the neighbor's fences.
So what are you concerned about encroachments being remedied? It doesn't seem like,
Well, I'm pointing them out. The one that I think's of consequence is at the road edge, where the driveway is clearly on a neighbor's property. And
Yeah, this is a Belgian block curb here, so that was there when they bought the house. And the DPW did this sidewalk and that entry, that curb cut, so we don't know, if it's not to snuff with them, they're the ones who did it, so.
well, they didn't put the driveway in where it is.
No, but they did the curb cut here. So, and it got updated apparently when the sidewalk and curb cut were done.
That is something that voters typically fixed. Get it in front of your property, don't encroach.
What, I'm not following
the department.
Driveway should be shifted over, so at least it's in front of this lot, not in front of the neighboring lot.
okay, part of their drive, oh, I see the dotted line, yeah.
Right here.
The beautiful Belgian block that extends into the neighbor.
I think you have letters of support from both adjacent
Neighbors,
neighbors.
adjacent neighbors, yes. So those are on the record. I brought
Including the
copies
one
with me.
whose side the driveway is on?
That is on the Bernstein side.
She's watching live.
She's watching this.
Yeah.
Okay. What are you thinking, guys? We've said all the hard stuff. What are you guys thinking?
Any questions?
I'm good.
Really? John?
I could keep talking, but.
I wouldn't.
Okay.
I think you're good. Would you two like to say anything about this?
No, just thank you for your time. We love Darien. We've been here for 3.5 years. And we'll be here for a very long time, so we love this town. And thanks for your time tonight.
Thank you. Does anyone in the audience wish to be heard on this application? Steve, anything else?
We good?
I think we're good. Okay,
All right.
thank you.
You do it.
Okay. All right, last one of the night, moving along, we're doing well. Calendar number 7-2025, the application of Brian Donnelly for the property located at 6 Maple Street. Welcome, I assume you're Brian?
I am Brian, thank you.
All right.
Thank you, thank you. So I'm Brian Donnelly. My family and I live at 6 Maple. Sorry, I don't have a poster board, but I'll maybe hold this up in front and can walk it around. So we live at 6 Maple. We are contemplating a tear down and rebuild of the existing structure. The reason for the variance is the lot is non-conforming as it narrows to 56.5 feet at the narrowest point. You can see that right in the middle of the lot on the most recent survey. And then goes back out to about 59 feet at the back. It's 60 feet up front. The current structure was built in 1906. There's a few things that encroach on the setbacks that exist today. So the front porch is about 16 feet from Maple Street. We also have side steps that encroach on the 8-foot setback on the right-hand side of the house. And so the new structure is contemplated to be fully compliant with all coverage, all height, and all setback requirements. And so that's the reason for the variance is because of the lot.
Okay, that was short and sweet. Okay,
We've had one. So this is just, everything's gonna be conforming, but because the width of the lot is less than.
Undersized,
It's
yeah.
undersized, they have to
should
come
be 60 and
in
it's 56.5, so he has to come from
past
us.
it. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, Woody, anything we should know about this?
Well, the logic here is that they should show that they're gonna make the best of a difficult dimension circumstance. They're gonna fit it in with the driveway and other things. And there is a question there with the bend of the driveway as you come in off the street instead of being straight. Do you know why that was planned that way?
Yeah, so the way that the driveway that exists today is just a simple pull-in lot. Maple Street, as you guys might know, it's on the corner of Maple and Norotan, and is a pretty busy road, and also comes over a kind of a bend, if you will. Our lot is on the top, and so we always need to back straight out into Maple Street, which can be difficult, especially for people not used to backing out onto Maple Street. And so we're contemplating having a pull-through in the front yard that'll allow for a car to be able to pull up and do a 3-point turn. If we're going to back out, to be able to pull outwards. Also, you'll see that the driveway will wrap around the back, allowing for a 2-car garage to the back of the house, so we'll increase parking on the lot, which will also allow for people to be able to turn around and pull front ways out onto the street.
You can do that on this lot?
Not currently. Oh, well, on the new one, yes. For the new. On the lot, yes. In the new proposed.
Saying that now they have to back out.
Yeah, no, that's a good idea.
Well, thank you.
That'd be much safer.
What I was pointing out is there's a bend in the driveway.
Yeah.
It doesn't come straight in.
On the new proposal.
Yeah, why is there a bend? I mean, it's gonna be a challenge for a lot of people to make that bend.
Yeah, we've taken a look at all of the radius and the turning in from Maple Street itself. We'll make sure that any of the new driveway itself will be perfectly accessible.
Well, perfectly accessible. So that's what this is about, if there's a dimensional challenge with the lot.
You're
Is it
concerned about being
logical
able to
having-
pull in, being able to, I guess, take a right into the driveway off of Maple?
Well, normally a driveway comes straight in off the street instead of having a little bend like that. I'll give you an example. We had one time, and it turned out that they designed the house. There was a utility pole in the way. And they had a tortured, tight lot situation like this. But the
Yeah.
driveway came in on one side, went all the way in front of the house, and then down the other side. And the board said, just flip the design, have a logical, good quality site design, given the tightness. So in this case, maybe it could be straightened out. So,
What do we do with that?
I do not personally feel strongly about the straight driveway. I mean, yeah, it's a small street, I think it's gonna be, I don't think.
But
it's just
Brian,
my
you have
opinion.
someone who's an expert in this, we're not?
Correct.
Who did some analysis to say it's better, it's safer to have that radius like that?
That's right.
It's better than what it is, but
Yeah, look, it's a tough corner no matter what.
Well,
This is certainly better than backing out of that driveway in those pictures, so.
I suspect they didn't do it for the whim of it, and for some reason. But, you know, the reason being clear, the safety and the turning radius.
I mean, who checks these things? Doesn't the building department check this? No? So if we approve a bad plan, this could just be a bad plan?
yeah. basically.
Well, that's concerning.
Well, and
Well, if they put this in and they can't pull into their driveway, presumably they're gonna have to change their driveway, right?
And there's nothing in the building code that prohibits this. It's
I
their
know,
choice.
that's
I
what,
don't- Yeah.
Sometimes it saves some aggravation down the road. The Public Works Department would have to issue what's called a street opening permit for all the work for the new driveway and whatever's done beyond your property line.
So somebody, another person here in town hall or wherever is gonna approve the curb cut that is associated with this driveway?
If they're using the existing curb cut, they can probably do it. There is a sidewalk, they'll be concerned about it getting damaged all through the demolition and the construction.
Can I see the picture again?
yeah.
Yeah, and just to be clear, we're not changing anything about the current entry or exit of, where the like, there's a sidewalk that goes right in front of the house, right? We're not changing the sidewalk to say, put the driveway on the other side.
Yeah, I
It'll
think
still be a,
Woody's concern, Woody's bringing up that, you've got this kind of, I'll call it landscaping that is
Yeah.
coming in to the driveway opening, which is making it seem like it's a tough, like it could be a tough turn.
And those are arborvitaes for barrier between properties.
that's the idea.
I mean, I think for your sake, I would just really look into it and make sure it's
Yep.
for resale value purposes, for safety, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, I mean, I guess. Okay. It's better than what it was. Okay. Any questions, Jen?
No.
Good.
Do we need to talk about the neighbor email or?
Well, it's commercial to the left of you, right?
Just looking at the house to the left, yeah. So Paul and I had a good discussion. I think she's got a much better understanding of the house. I think she initially thought we were building towards Maple Street, so actually going closer to the road and closer to her house. The non-conforming part of our lot is on her side of the lot, and so we're doing 8 feet and 12 feet, 8 feet on, pushing the house as far over to away from her as possible to be able to allow for this driveway. Her other concern was just the construction parking on parking on Maple Street. And so I told her we would be more than happy to communicate that with our builders as we're going through the process and keep her up to date in terms of how we're getting around all of that. But I think she was also concerned about having storage or anything on her commercial parking spots, and we told her we absolutely will avoid that.
Where would your contractors park and store materials?
I don't know.
Pardon?
I don't, on our lot somewhere, but I'm not exactly sure what their full plans
Yeah, it's a
would be.
tight circumstance, so you may need an off-site place for a lot of the contractors' equipment, but gonna need to work that out. Maybe across the street at the Wagner
Contractors are
place.
very savvy people.
Yeah.
That Wagner lot's always
Figure it
empty.
out.
Use Wagner.
It's up for sale, or up for lease at least.
Exactly.
Pretty quiet across.
Okay.
We find places to store stuff you wouldn't
Yeah.
even believe.
We're on the record right now. All right.
Legal places.
Of course, all the time.
Does anybody have any questions? You're good? You're good?
Good.
Anybody in the audience wish to be heard on this application? Hey, you sure you've got your neighbor's support? You're all good? Okay.
Yep.
All right. This hearing is now officially closed. All right, that brings us to deliberations and decisions. Again, you cannot speak. You may observe, but you may not comment. All right, I guess let's just take this in order. Okay. Okay, first one, Huckleberry Lane. Ken lines. Hardship, shape of the lot. They came back in front of us.
Undersized lot.
Yep.
I think they hit those 2 or 3 hardship items.
Mhm.
Minimal adjustment necessary, footprint's already there. We, I think, typically say this is somewhat helpful to the neighborhood because it encloses some sound, enclosing it.
I was fine with it before, I was just worried about the hardship,
Yeah,
and we
that just
can't.
needs to be said, yeah.
Yeah, it has to be on the record, Kevin.
Yeah, I agree, and we heard testimony about it being a .7 acre site
That's
in a
right.
2 acre district. very odd shape. I would have liked to have the exact width of the buildable area, but it appears to be under 40 feet. So it does seem, when you take those facts cumulatively, that to be a hardship. And it's a modest sized house, and this makes it a little more livable, so it does seem like a minimal adjustment that I'm okay with.
Okay, 11% covered total, Jana?
I would echo what Kevin said. I think it seems like a minimal adjustment, and I do understand the hardship now.
This is why we like when Kevin goes first, because then we
Yes.
just go what Kevin said. John?
I went first.
I agree with you.
You good?
Do we need to,
Stipulate?
yeah, what were the questions here?
I don't think we had any. Gas fireplace, the roof was done and properly permitted. Were there any stipulations? I didn't write anything down. Stairs were moved, stairs are being moved. I'm good. Matt?
No issues.
I don't think I had any.
How many for,
Okay. Anyone want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion.
a second motion?
Jana seconds. All in favor?
To approve, I gather?
This is to
Yes.
approve as is.
Okay.
Aye, that's 5-0 to approve. Well done. See what happens when you bring your weight back? All right. Calendar number 1-2025, 1 Swifts Lane. Peter Stees on behalf of Cameron Law. This was the hardship that predates zoning on the undersized lot to finish the front, I'll call it a portico, that's not really what it is, I guess it's the overhang. I love this application. I mean, they made it more compliant. I mean, these guys talk about like a Hail Mary, this is fantastic. They made it better. I mean, I think we just want to stipulate what we always stipulate with a front porch, right? They cannot enclose it. The lighting needs to be contained. How do we say that? What are the words we use?
There's no off-site glare. There's some standard language that we've used. I'd like to include that. We can certainly do that.
Okay,
Beyond the property lines. They can light up their own yard all they want, but at least from the porch.
okay. Matt, did you have any issues with this one?
Yeah, it's corner lot, R1 zone, undersized lot, so, and it's just barely beyond the setbacks, and adding the front porch, so no issues.
I like the safety they threw in there, like that.
Yeah,
John?
We get these all the time.
Okay.
Minimum, like the max size, they can't go over, what is it, 8 by?
8 by 5.
I mean, it's-
Sutton, Jana?
You already said, I mean, they reduced nonconformity already, so I think it's basically, it's almost an even exchange, it seems like.
Yeah, I like it.
The porch versus the part that's already been removed.
I went last, so you could say what Jana said.
Sure. I mean, there is some evidence of hardship, but it's a long-standing policy of the board, and case law supports that where you are improving or you're doing something for the sake of safety, you don't need to find a hardship. And it's been our policy that 8 by 5 porch that's provides coverage from snow and ice is improving safety, and so I vote to approve it on those grounds.
Perfect. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion.
John? Second?
Second.
All in favor? 5-0. Congratulations on your portico. Okay. Calendar number 5-2025, Steve Jones on behalf of the Blonigans at 70 Middlesex Road. Here's where we bring it down.
We keep getting burned with these.
Well, before we get to getting burned, I think it's safe to say there is something unusual that is creating a hardship here, in that the property is 0.205 acres in a 1/3 zone. It's a 1929 house that has a 35-foot buildable width. It's a 1,700 square foot house, and they want to modestly increase that by 377 feet.
Of which only 80 is only 80 of that is actually
Right.
not as of right.
Yeah.
So
It is a
So
minimal
it's
adjustment.
certainly minimal adjustment.
And so then we get to the question of us getting burned, and my view on it is, we shouldn't hold it against a specific applicant and a specific architect who have not come before us previously.
And I don't-
Something like this. And folks who do and then don't follow our stipulations should know that if they come back again, there would be a problem, theoretically.
And I don't disagree, right? We shouldn't hold them responsible for some of the failings of their
Constituents.
constituents, that's the word. But is there anything that we can do in terms of, like, before it even gets to a permit, that we need the engineer to actually give us something? And I get it, they need to put CYA language in it, but honestly, this footing looks pretty good, right? If I did a test pit like this at my house and I wanted to put a second story on, I'd be excited to see that, right? Because that looks pretty good. But what about the walls? I mean, what can we put in here that,
As a
okay,
backstop for this, yeah.
you've got the approval, now you gotta go, before we stamp it or wherever it goes when they resubmit to actually get a permit, can you cut 2 holes, one at a sill plate and one at the ceiling, and make sure there is no termite dent, right? I heard termite dent. I mean, if there is, they gotta fix it anyways, so I guess that's kinda, like,
But
I'm not
sometimes
making a
termite
great
damage
point
is,
there, but
yeah,
it just,
you're right.
like,
I lived in this neighborhood, I had a 1926 home, and I gotta tell you, that wood was like petrified. I mean, the foundation was stronger than anything. So you're right, it could be a great situation. And I trust, I've known Steve for years. He's a good, solid architect. He's a good, honest guy to work with. So I like that. But what do you
Well, that's
think?
part of the reason why I asked who the builder was.
Yeah.
right? Because Steve's not gonna be the one there that's like,
Stopping
oh,
the work
this
when he-
wall doesn't look great, tear it out, we'll just reframe it. He's not the one that's gonna be doing that, right? So, I don't know, is there anything that we can build into the approval that they have to come back with? This is an expensive project, spending a couple $1,000s to get it's not just a couple $1,000s, I understand engineers are expensive, but, to have someone actually come out and do a real,
Yeah,
So we've had conditions where they had to get a structural engineer to verify their statements here, which I think were foundation's gonna stay, first floor deck's gonna stay, first floor walls are gonna stay. Then ceiling's gonna be redone with new choice. So we've had projects in which we've said, as a condition of approval, before you get your building permit, have a structural engineer verify you're gonna be able to keep those things.
and that keeps it in our hands up to that point, up to the building permit, it goes through Woody, is that or no?
Not anymore. That's the problem. And we've learned that even when we had a project where there was an engineer that verified they're gonna keep this, that, and this and that, and they didn't, they were allowed to continue work, even though they tore it all down.
But what is the stamp or approval here that allows zoning, that allows it to go to building department? There's some kind of permit that
There's a
the
zoning.
CEO signs off on, or
Yes.
or
There's
planning
a
and
zoning
zoning?
clearance. In the past, there was a ZBA step in the permit process, where I'd have to look and make sure their final construction plans match the plans you guys saw. And if there were conditions, like you gotta keep this and keep that, in order to make it an honest addition to the nonconformity, so that was the process. And then the CEO has the authority to actually put the zoning final stamp on it, and then it goes to the building department for their code review and such.
Okay. So I think what you're telling me is there's really not anything that we can put in there that
Right.
makes sure that we get this information.
We can't be certain that your condition that you gotta keep this, that, or the other will be followed. So we're stuck either trusting,
or denying.
you can still have that condition if they have to have the structural engineer.
Well, I think we should put it in no matter what.
Yeah.
And maybe Steve will bring it to you anyways for you to look at.
Well, most of the architects know this issue comes up. And I don't like when they come here and they say, well, our intent, we think it's good. Open up the wall. Before you come to the ZBA, open up the damn wall. Be able to say, yes, it's solid 2x4s or it's whatever. And no guesswork. But we get the circumstance we have. Yes, disruptive to open up a floor or open up a wall, but it's not that big a disruption.
We are reviewing this process. We are putting some energy to this to figure out what we can do. But
Yeah, look,
in the
I
Talk about
meantime,
it later.
I agree. I hate for him to be, I hate for
Yeah,
him to be.
I don't, look, I'm personally not saying, well, since we can't do all this, or I'm gonna make these people the escape. I mean, I did this same project on a house 10 years ago. It was literally the same thing, 2 feet. And we were honest about it, and I'm hoping that we've just had some bad apples recently, so.
Okay. Are we ready to make a decision? Do we want to discuss this anymore?
We put all the things on the hardship, were you good on
Yeah, I think so.
minimal adjustment necessary?
Mm-hmm.
I'll
Make a
mo-
stipulation?
I'll-
Make a motion, make a
I'll
stipulation that-
I'll make a motion to approve with the stipulations about, having an engineer actually write a letter about the foundation, look at about the existing exterior walls, and yeah, if that means cut a hole in the wall to check it, cut a hole in the wall to check it. It's minor in the grand scheme of this
Mhm.
project. What else did we miss on this one? The propane tank needs to be gone in the final, right? That was one of the non-conformities they gave back.
Yep. Which will happen anyways because they've tapped into the gas and street. What about the curb cut with the Belgian block? Do we care about fixing that?
They've got
That
neighbor support.
That neighbor wrote a letter of support,
And
so.
if the Department of Public Works actually did the curb cut, I don't think we go
I know.
there.
But to Woody's point, like, this is the chance to fix this stuff. Like, once we let it go, it's done. Like, there is no clawing it back. So that's why he's bringing it up.
Believe it or not, we've had circumstances like this, where in 5 or 10 years, different owner next door, they
That's
want the
fair.
driveway all
That's
up
fair, yeah, that's fair.
Neighbor comes forward and says, well, the board approved this project with the driveway where it is, they knew it was a problem, they didn't tell us to fix it, we got a right to keep it. I know it sounds absurd, but, and probably won't happen here.
It probably won't, but, if we're here to defend neighbors' rights and bring things more into compliance, I mean, technically, we shouldn't be glossing over those things. That's why I raise it.
If that's a stipulation, then, okay.
I don't think I care about it, I'm just bringing it up. Don't. So I acted like I cared about it? What do you think, Tim?
It doesn't matter to me.
Matt?
There might be more,
I kind of like it.
there might be more of a hassle for the neighbors to move in at this point.
Yeah, no, I think it is more of a hassle. But I think in general, like, these are the things, like, we have this opportunity when we're looking at a project to clean these things up.
You can
We
make, you
also
can make
have
it
to be-
skinnier and make it not flared and stuff, but.
It's expensive.
They've got very nice neighbors. This neighbor's giving them 2 feet extra on the right side. This neighbor's giving them 2 feet extra with their fences on the other side. So I don't know, maybe it's just a big, happy, happy community over there. I don't know, they've got 4 extra feet on their, in
Wonder
their
they love
backyard
living
there.
here. I like it too.
And
I
that's
think we
gonna change
crossed that,
someday.
I think we crossed that bridge when.
Yeah,
the
another
neighbor
owner,
next door
someday
and-
an owner will buy it and.
Take it off, move them.
Let me ask a question though. If a new owner comes and moves next door on the left and notices that their driveway is on their property line, do they have a method that they can go to move that? Aside from, suing somebody?
They probably have to sue.
You have to sue.
But they probably wouldn't even know about it. I mean, I don't even know, like,
I think from a practical standpoint, a lot of these things, even once you know there's a problem, unless it's really, if it's really impacting you, then you do something about it. But most of these things, if it's not affecting your enjoyment of your property.
I agree with you, Jana.
You let the sleeping dog lie.
I agree. Totally. Seems like complete ridiculousness to me, but, okay. So I think the only stipulation is propane tank gone,
The structural probes,
structural
foundation
probes.
walls.
Okay,
Actually, the second floor deck won't matter, Woody, right? Because they're gonna have to bring a new floor above that anyways, right?
Yeah, it's pretty common.
Yeah.
At least sister, if not.
Yeah.
And to make it an honest addition, at least foundation, deck, walls.
That's
Should
fine.
be.
Yeah,
Should
just-
be, but we've had circumstances where the board's accepted just keeping the foundation and rebuilding everything else. So, It's up to you guys how much you feel is important.
No, they should keep that, they're saying they're gonna keep that wall.
Yeah, we're gonna make them keep
Yeah.
it,
Okay.
okay? All
But
right.
They included a list of things that would be remaining. There's an attachment in the record, I believe, unless I've got
Where's
my,
that, Jan?
unless I've got my things mixed up here. Which one am I on?
I don't think I printed that.
Hold on. This is,
Variance, minimum adjustment. I don't have it.
Woody had given us a list of all the items that were encroaching, right?
Yeah.
Is that what?
Vinyl fence, propane tank, wood fence on 72,
It sounds like those are the neighbors.
and the driveway. We
Yeah.
covered all that.
oh, areas to be preserved. Am I looking at the right thing here?
You looking at Middlesex?
70
you're right.
Middlesex. So it was all of the existing grading, hardscape and landscaping, all of the existing footings, foundation and basement crawl space areas, all of the first floor except the west side, room, ceilings and a kitchen window, for all of the second floor except the existing outer west wall, the southwest, I mean, it's pretty detailed.
Yeah, that's consistent with what they showed, what Steve showed in the drawings, so.
Right, so, I mean, this could almost be your
Part of
stipulation,
the record?
right?
Do that? Okay.
Does that have a label on top or?
It says, the title of it is called, well, sorry, the first line is different than the title. It's 70 Middlesex Road dash areas to be preserved, is what the title of the document is.
Okay. That'll help. Okay.
And then, John, how are we phrasing the engineering information?
We have a fairly boilerplate template for that.
Okay,
That's effective,
okay,
so we'll have to do that
all right.
when they get the construction permit, and we'll see how it goes.
Okay.
I think you started with the motion, but the.
Motion to approve with all those stipulations we just came up with that Woody loves us for.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor? I'm gonna deny it only for the purposes of the record. I'm gonna deny it. But 4-1, it passes.
Okay.
Okay,
And we have Donnelly, I guess.
okay? Congratulations. Great. There's some history there I'm not gonna get into. Okay. Okay. Final application, Brian Donnelly at Maple Street. Anybody want to start with this one?
Yeah, but this application is the whole reason why we have a zoning board of appeals.
Yeah.
It's a legal lot that you cannot build on.
Yes.
So the whole purpose of our board is when zoning prohibits someone from having substantial justice in the use of their property, for example, you can't build anything on it, we can vary the terms of zoning. So everything is going to be built within the setbacks and fully compliant with zoning, except for the lot width. So I think it's pretty straightforward, and we should approve it.
Anybody?
I agree with what Kevin said. I misunderstood what this one was when I first looked at the drawings, and then once I realized, I'm like, oh, there's. this
Basically
is-
an unbuildable lot.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, make a motion to approve?
I move we approve the application without any stipulations.
I'll second that.
Jana seconds, all in favor? Congratulations, we should have let you go. I'm so sorry you had to wait. I should have moved that. Thank you. All right, and on to other business quickly. Let's see. 6-month extension for 25 Old Kings Highway North. I'll make a motion to approve.
Is this their first?
Yeah, I
Yes.
believe it's their
Oh,
first. They're caught up and they have to go to EPC because of flood zone, P&Z commission, so.
Good question though, yes. I haven't been out with
Is it?
The Tesla?
Oh, this is the old Good Wives?
Yeah, the old Good Wives Plaza.
It's now called Old Kings Market.
I know. You can't call it Good Wives
It's
anymore.
misogynistic to call it.
New, I think it was maybe the new owner. Like,
Is there any one?
wanted-
Oh, really?
I think Regency.
Mm.
I miss misogyny. Okay, anyways. So, okay, so I'll make a motion to approve. All in favor?
Somebody seconded?
Oh, second.
I'll second.
John seconds. All in favor? Okay. Request a short extension for what
I
is
gotta
this?
show you something.
Shauna
What-
Sullivan,
what is-
24 Cherry
What is
Street.
going on here? This looks like it's been extended,
Whoa.
extended. This
Been a long
was
time.
originally approved in 2020.
Remind me what this is. I remember I was on this. I don't remember.
24 Cherry
I
Street.
could talk for about 20 minutes about this property. and
Please don't.
prop.
Okay.
So,
What?
unbelievable. Previous owners, they got a variance to build something, it was supposed to be a garage. Long story short, it's been flooded out a couple times because people made it into a bedroom instead. They submitted claims actually and got reimbursed twice. So this owner is supposed to be fixing things, taking out the living space that's in the garage, building up and over and actually lifting the house. Had a hard time getting it going apparently. We did have a check to see, are the neighbors still the same as they were a year and a half ago, whenever it was that we had our hearing, and they are. So that's favorable. At least there's not someone's gonna be surprised that this is building up and over. What I find annoying is the pink represents this stupid fence. Now, I know it's not the worst thing in the world, but the green is their property line, blue is the road edge. So they've been taken over town line. One of the conditions of the project was, before you start, get your fence out of the town-owned land. And I actually said to the owners, maybe a month ago, hey, at least while there's snow storage circumstances in the winter, would you move your fence? Just get it down, get it out of there. And they didn't do it. So we've had a long time for this to get going. Typically, what the board has done is said, okay, we'll grant extensions up to about a year and a half, 18 months. But after that, they should have a new hearing. I could be a little more.
What's the reason for not getting, is it legitimate reasons that it's taking 18 months to start a project? It seems a little.
Well, we always hear about COVID and the prices. It is a challenge here.
2025.
It's a modest house, it's an expensive project, refinancing and all that, I'm sure, but,
But
Can we,
this
can we
was-
tie the extension to moving the fence?
Yeah,
yep.
Can we do that?
that's what I'm saying. Why don't
But
we just say
quickly,
no?
Was this approved for originally September 2023?
Yeah.
So I say no extension unless they move the fence. I agree.
Can we do that?
Sure. We can.
It's one of the only things we can do. Let's do it.
Let's do it,
Jesus.
yeah.
Yep.
It's a small thing, but
I agree.
I even said to Nick Mayo, the architect, last Thursday, would you tell the owner to fix it? Do it this weekend, please, because I don't want to be hard ass about it on Monday at the board meeting. But here I am, so I colored this up a little bit ago just to, sometimes we fix things when we learn about public works, I can assure you, doesn't want a fence in their property shoulder.
Yeah,
People should be able to walk their dogs and do other things.
I agree. I'm good with that.
Alright.
So I'll make a motion to deny the extension until the fence is moved into the property line.
Can you
Can
deny
we
it
just
and
approve,
then,
can we
yeah.
approve it on the condition that we do?
Yeah, how do you want me to say it?
We could do that,
Okay.
but by a certain date, I would say.
Well, we can't just extend, we can't keep the extension rolling, right? How do we do it?
Can it be part of the project?
You can grant an extension to the next meeting on April 23rd, at which time.
The fence
we
needs to be
expect
moved.
The fence is removed.
Okay,
That
I
makes
like that,
sense.
do that.
And then look at it again next time and maybe grant another extension. There are difficulties that people are having now with prices going so much, you know. And budgeting, I guess, is a challenge. What I don't like is I'm worried this is gonna not be done. And then we're gonna have to write a notice of violation. You've got living space illegally created twice. You went to insurance and claimed. And then you
Is it the
rebuilt it.
same owner?
No, it's not the same owner now.
What would be bad about writing a notice of violation?
Just that it's annoying to have to deal with the property. It never should have gotten to where it did. Somehow it wasn't noticed or it was ignored. I just find these things bothersome.
Sorry, the owner now is not the one that we approved the variance for.
Oh, it is.
It is.
But not the one that made the illegal living situation.
Oh, right.
They inherited, now they might have been able to bargain the price because when they bought, the current owner, when she bought, was aware of this problem where they have living space, it's illegally occupied, and you got a flood zone and all this. So the good news is she came forward, got a good architect to design a nice, relatively modest addition, improved the house immensely. They're gonna lift the whole house. Not much, a couple feet, but
They can afford to do that, they can afford to
General,
move the
should
fence.
be a good, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so what John said, we will grant them the extension till the next meeting, given that the fence is moved.
I'll make a motion to.
Yes, I make a motion
Extension
to grant an extension till the next meeting in April 24th.
23rd, actually.
23rd.
That's okay. Hopefully
I
we'll
second.
get 5 of you there.
John seconds.
Okay,
All in favor?
That's helpful.
Love it.
that's helpful.
Okay, thank you, Woody. Approval of the minutes from January 22nd. I'll make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Gianna seconds. All in favor?
Jen, did you look at them?
I did. I would never do that if I
Did you see
hadn't
the
looked at
goofy
them.
thing I sent?
The only thing that didn't make sense to me was the survey part where you had kind of ... but I figured
Yeah,
that
that's why
was.
I didn't know what it was either. He
There are
resent.
times, and I frankly get lazy. Send it along to you guys before I've
Go
written
back
up
and find the
exact
date, find the
architectural
date
drawings.
of the drawings.
Everything
But I read
else-
the rest of it. I presume that's what you meant by, so if I shouldn't have.
One of them was like the template or something instead of the actual.
No, the wording was all, but I did notice that you hadn't filled in the
Thank
survey
goodness.
data.
So Barb made a motion to approve. Did somebody second that?
I did.
I-
Gianna seconded.
Gianna did, okay.
And then we approved. You didn't approve, or
I did not.
Kevin abstained?
He wasn't
Because he
part of
wasn't there. Then, let's see, approval of the minutes from
it. February
February.
24th, haven't done them, so,
Wait, I thought that's what I just read the other
No,
day.
you said January 22nd,
yeah.
and that is correct.
It was one of
That's
the
what-
January
that's what-
22nd.
That's what
ones
we
that was-
read.
What was
messed up.
February 24th?
We haven't gotten that
It
yet.
hasn't been done yet.
Oh, okay. Okay, skip that. Review of town council regarding enforcement of ZBA stipulations. I'm working on that. General discussion of application materials. Let's talk about that when we drink at the Goose. General discussion of application. I would say we table all this to the next time. I don't want to get, can we drink at the Goose? What days did we talk about? What did we
I
decide?
don't know.
I think we should close the meeting.
Okay, oh yeah, sorry. Okay, meeting is adjourned. It is.